Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And
sorry, things I didn't think I'd be talking about today.
yeah, nobody runs from DEI like a deer. So we're gonna talk about John Deere tractor making a big public show of ditching DEI, and they said that they're not gonna be political. They're not gonna sponsor any events anymore. Apparently there was backlash. I missed all of this. Apparently they were sponsoring pride parades and stuff. I don't know.
John Deere.
John Deere.
Like the tractors.
Yeah, they were, what's this one here? This was last year. They were going to sponsor drag story time, and then they dropped that. Now they're
At a capital city. John Deere.
What does that have to do with, you know what I'm saying? Like, look, we're gonna talk about this because it's not. I mean, this is kind of out of our wheelhouse because we're dealing with farm equipment.
Well, not really so much me, because I grew up around on the farms and stuff, and we had the whole, it was John Deere against, Farmall.
See, I knew
we
that.
have a Farmall.
Yeah. Your dad still got his old Farmall
He does.
tractor,
I love that old Farmall. It was built the same year he was born.
But like this is indicative of what is going on in the larger business space, where basically all these companies now, because it's no longer in vogue, and there has been some definite financial repercussions, they're all abandoning.
But the media is
Yes.
like, you're terrible if you abandon DEI. It's like, but DEI is destroying the company. Plus, I would argue DEI is causing your problems to exacerbate because, people are questioning. Someone is hired that's diverse, even if they're really qualified. They're being questioned if they're a DEI hire, and I don't think that's fair or correct. And before it was people just assumed if you got hired, it was because you got hired because you were qualified. Now they assume it's because it's because you're a woman, or because you're not white, or because you're not straight. Right. And I think it's actually done more damage than it's actually helped anything. I just can't wrap my head around John Deere. Didn't Tractor Supply was doing it too?
Yeah, we're gonna talk.
I just can't wrap my head around this.
We're gonna talk about it because it's all across the board. Like we've been covering.
You had to this year to get money and not get shut down.
Well, yeah. So for a while, it was very fashionable to have DEI and to have progressive causes and to put up the rainbow logo on your Twitter account. And a lot of times, I think this is coming at the request or insistence of a younger social media manager.
I'm sure it is, because I just can't. Okay.
John Deere tractor.
I grew up in a rural area around farmers and such. And while, I can't picture the John Deere
Typical
crowd
John Deere
thinking,
tractor.
being like, oh, drag story time. Yeah.
I know, right? Like these two things don't
I'm not mocking
really
drag story time. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's a weird thing.
Some things just do not go together.
So let's talk about this, because again, this is indicative of a wider set of dominoes that are falling down, and it's happening very, very quickly. It was like the end of last year.
The media is freaking the hell out.
They're freaking out. And at the end of last year, like all these tech companies started ditching DEI, and now there's talk of going back to meritocracy. And we just did a video the other day.
I don't understand why going back to meritocracy is a bad thing. I'm sure a lot of these places are still going to hire people that are diverse. They're just going to hire qualified people that are diverse.
Well, no, that's the problem, because it's easier for activists to sneak into a company.
There you go.
When they don't have to be this tall to get on the ride.
Why would they want to get rid of DEI if it's all activist employees who do nothing but sit on the internet and scream at other people and constantly complain all the time? Why would you ever want to get rid of that?
So we're going to talk about this, and this is making a lot of people angry, but this is honestly how I think it started. Now, I do want to say that I don't think diversity and inclusion is not going away completely. And there's some theories that they're just going to call it something else. But whatever is going on, these companies aren't going to be virtue signaling as hard as they have been, because there have been financial repercussions. Like, you can say, hey, we want... okay, so it's hard to be diverse and inclusive and say, hey, we want everybody's money except for 50% of the country. We don't want their money. I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if your customers are red or blue, if their money is green.
Right.
That's what you have to look at. And I'm sorry, again, a brand like John Deere or even Tractor Supply, I am willing to bet the majority of your customers are red.
Yeah, knowing I know I'm very familiar with Tractor Supply, and I know the people that are around farmers, and I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, yeah, a lot of them probably didn't know about this. Hell, I didn't know about this stuff. If people knew about this, they would have been screaming. They've been so pissed. Yeah, your audience is not, your target demographic is not ones that would be like, okay.
Yeah. So let's talk about this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Yeah, woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
So this was the tweet yesterday. I actually had, I think Black Sage D sent me the initial tweet. I didn't know this was a thing. I didn't know this was going on. But
so are these companies turning against it now because they got caught using it? Or I don't understand.
I think they're turning against it because they're trying to, my personal opinion, yeah, I think they're trying to win back their customers because, again, a brand like John Deere.
I never heard John Deere was doing this stuff.
I didn't know they were doing it either. I mean, I don't have a tractor, but
I don't have a John Deere.
And yeah, you've got a farm. Yeah, whether you're green or red, your money goes. But like, and most farmers probably aren't terminally online, right? So I don't think they knew.
I know at least one. Anyway.
Yes, there is one particular farmer who is terminally online and
obsessed with me.
Mentally ill.
Anyway,
but that's a whole nother thing. We don't know what kind of tractor he drives though. So anyway, this is the statement they put out yesterday. It's pretty bad when these companies have to issue a statement to try to win back their customers. John Deere says our customers' trust and confidence in us are of the utmost importance to everyone at John Deere. We fully intend to earn it every day in every way we can. And yeah, they're flipping out. But this is their official statement. They said John Deere was founded in America's heartland nearly 200 years ago by an entrepreneur deeply committed to delivering innovative products to his customers. We're proud of this legacy, and it continues to drive us today. We deeply value our more than 80,000 global employees who work every day to deliver superior products to our customers. It takes the best people and the best teams to solve our customers' biggest challenges.
Oh, wait, there's 80,000 global employees, and I guarantee you among those 80,000 global employees, there are diverse people who were qualified for the position.
I'm sure. To best serve our customers and employees, Deere is always listening to feedback and looking for opportunities to improve. That's why we consistently prioritize internal policies that more closely align our business strategy to meet the needs of our customers. For example, last year, we revised our I love how they kind of snuck it in here. For example, last year, we revised our corporate guidelines to solely focus on sponsorships supporting the business and the brand. Our nonprofit sponsorships center on priority areas such as hunger, economic development, poverty alleviation, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, agriculture, education initiatives, which makes sense for John Deere, and support for our nation's service members and veterans. Again, given the demographic, that makes sense. Based on ongoing conversations, we have committed to the following. We will no longer participate or support external social or cultural awareness parades, festivals, or events.
They got caught. That's what this is going on. They were sneaking this in, and people didn't know. And then, because I didn't even hear anything. This is last year. I didn't hear anything about it. And people found out, and people were mad.
It got buried under the Bud Light videos.
Apparently. See, that's what happened. They got caught, and then when people found out, they stopped supporting, and then they hit their bottom line.
Right. It said business resource groups will exclusively be focused on professional development, networking, mentoring, and supporting talent recruitment efforts.
So what were they using it before? Like, were they doing like you different groups like Disney has, and they're naming them stuff like
Probably.
After their culture and stuff?
Probably. Auditing all company mandated training materials and policies to ensure the absence of socially motivated messages.
They had re-education seminars.
Yes, while being in compliance with federal, state, and local laws. So basically, everything's just going back to how it was. Reaffirming within the business that the existence of diversity quotas and pronoun identification have never been and are not company policy.
Well, the reason that they're probably putting that in there is because you're hiring people for quota and they don't know what they're doing and just cost you money. But the pronoun identification, like, I have no problem if someone had this different pronouns than me. A lot of people have problems with it. I have no problem. But the problem I have is when somebody misgenders you and you have a fit and get them fired. I'm just like, it happens. Some people, but I'm sure that's what's coming up. It's actually how many more headaches did that cause?
Yeah, it's like just say, yeah, oh, I'm sorry, I'd prefer whatever, and that's fine. Just realize, like, it's
Some people do it on purpose, but most people don't.
some people do it on purpose, but like, realize most people aren't going to do it on purpose. But if you force people to do it, or you have a shit fit about it, or you try to force people that are obviously he, him, or obviously she, her to wear their pronouns on their chest, and they don't want to, you're going to get pushback.
That's just it.
You're going to get pushback.
There's a lot of people who don't want to do that, and they shouldn't have to. And then you have with Gina Carano, for example, or when they have that Transformer, or with Gina Joe panel, and then they were making everybody say their pronouns. If you want to, that's up to you, but people shouldn't have to if they don't want to either.
Right. It said, reaffirming within the business that the existence of diversity quota.
Yeah, we already read that.
Oh, yeah, we said that. Okay, we fundamentally believe that a diverse workforce enables us to best meet our customers' needs.
Yes.
And because of that, we will continue to track and advance the diversity of our organization. Now,
Well, that's kind of contradicting what they just said.
Well,
we're
okay.
not going by quotas.
No, so I think what they're saying, and this is kind of what Microsoft was saying too. Now, there are a couple different ways to take this, right? We did a video on Microsoft the other day. They're basically saying we are going to continue to hire diverse people, obviously.
Well, yeah,
but we're not going to make it a mandate that we have to hire a quota number of diverse
people. They're not saying they're getting rid of DEI.
Well, no, they're getting rid of DEI. That's what it is. Because there's difference between diversity and inclusion. This is the way that they're wording it. Diversity and inclusion means we want diverse people to be included in our organization. Diversity, equity, and inclusion means we're going to stack the deck in favor of the diverse people over potentially more qualified candidates just to meet a quota.
But even then, because based on what you're saying, people, there's that because their own language and their own way they're trying to portray it. People are immediately assuming if someone's hired that's diverse, it's because they have the equity, the E, and it's maybe because they actually were the most qualified. So you see how it causes damage to people who are diverse but are actually qualified?
Yeah.
It causes a lot of damage, and it's actually causing more division, more bigotry, more racism, more, whatever, exclusionary behavior than it did before when you just hired people who were qualified that happen to be diverse. DEI has done nothing but, make the problem 100 times worse.
So this is interesting. There are multiple stories and everybody's freaking out. They're all like, it's the right wing. They're caving to right wing pressure. I'm also like,
people are the target demographic. Sorry.
John Deere comes from the Midwest. Guess who uses John Deere tractors the most?
This isn't Starbucks, people. This isn't like,
Starbucks.
Or some,
and even Starbucks kind of
I know, but I'm saying,
cooled off a little bit, right?
But it's not some company that, tends to have an audience that are more diverse in general. I'm not saying that John Deere doesn't have a diverse audience because they're global. I'm saying, and there's a lot of people who aren't white that are farmers. I am saying that their audience as a whole, the larger demographic of their audience usually tends to lean right. Well, that's just the way it is.
They were looking for that massive untapped market of drag queen farmers that's out there.
It's just,
there's so many of them out there, and they're I'm sure there are drag farmers.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I'm sure there are, right? I'm not saying there's not. And if you're a drag farmer, I salute you, because that's a lot of work, to work 16.
I wouldn't want to do it in heels.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. 16, 18 hours a day in heels. I mean, come on. But no, it's like, they know their target demographic, and same with Tractor Supply. They're walking it back too. Now, it's interesting how they're spinning it. They're like, well, it's not a complete win for the right wing because they said they're not abandoning their diversity efforts entirely. No, listen to what they're saying. They're basically saying we're going back to EOE, equal opportunity employment. We want more diverse people to work for us, but we're not going to have the equity, the quota, the stack in the deck in favor of. And I think they're just going to go back to, it's called normal. It's called going back to normal, where you hire the most qualified person, regardless of their gender, their skin tone, their religion, their whatever. That is what is best for the organization. Stacking the deck in favor of certain demographics just because they're that particular thing does not help your organization, because you are going to let unqualified people through. And this is how I personally think all these activists snuck into these companies, because they were not qualified to be there and they were not being filtered out. Normally they would have been filtered out. Like, yeah, you don't have any qualifications. You just want to bitch on Twitter all day. Like, nope. And no, they let them in. They're like, oh, okay, well, you're gay and like Samoan and pansexual. Sure, you spend a lot of time on Twitter, but whatever. Come on over because we need somebody like you. And
we got three-fer on that one.
We got three-fer, right? Okay, check. And then the white HR manager can go back to the white CEO and
get
be
a bonus for
and get a bonus for that,
That's
right?
Like I mean, Disney.
That's what they do at Disney. Yeah, it's just
according
like, yep, check.
According to the O'Keefe videos.
Yeah, I got a three-fer. And then currently related, yeah, Bud Light losing. And look, we didn't do the Bud Light thing because I think the Bud Light thing, I think, was kind of blown out of proportion because it was just like a viral video thing. In this case, though, like the bigger story is all these companies are walking it back. Now, I am hearing that a lot of the more progressive companies are just going to try to call it something else. There's Bridge, I guess, is going around, which is like, it's the same thing, but they're going to try to do it on the down low. But I don't see a company like John Deere Tractor or Tractor Supply or Tractor or Tractors R Us or.
Well, they're talking about Tractor Supply.
Tractor
They
Mart.
have to mean like the higher up positions, because I know for a fact at the Tractor Supply that to get a job there, you have to kind of know how to use. You have to have like a farming background a lot of times because they want to make sure that you know what to sell people. People come in looking for something, you have to know what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know for a fact that one of their qualifications has been, do you have experience in this area? Because they want somebody experience. It's like you would hire somebody at like a hardware store that knew how to help somebody who came in. It's like that. So if they're talking about some of these things, they have to be meaning at the, higher management and up level marketing, social media levels, because in the store, the front facing, people have to have experience, whether you be male, female, not white, whatever, you have to have experience working with the equipment and stuff because they want to make sure that when someone comes in needing something, you know what they're talking about. I know that one for a fact. At least the ones around me.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of, well, I know back in the, like, this is apples and oranges, but like you wanted to work at a record store, you had to actually listen to music, you had to know your stuff because people are going to ask for specific albums. It's like a whole, work in a comic shop, it helps to know something about comic books, just like that. But yeah, so apparently they had an interview with this came from AOL, and they had criticism. See, I didn't know anything about this because I am not a regular tractor user, but they had
I do
a
like
lot.
Tractor Supply a lot, though.
We do go to Tractor Supply, but
I do like it.
They said, yeah, Tractor Supply's walking it back. John Deere's walking it back. They had an interview with filmmaker Robbie Starbuck. He talked to the Wall Street Journal, and he said Tractor Supply had proved a model for pressuring other firms to re-examine their stances. And in the wake of Deere's announcement, Starbucks posted on X.
Starbucks. Oh,
No,
Starbucks.
Starbucks.
Okay.
No,
never mind.
Starbucks would never. They'd never be like, yes, they're just like do it on the down low,
Starbuck. Hey, he said
Yeah.
his name was Starbuck.
Robbie Starbuck.
Sorry.
Kind of like Starbuck from
Yeah,
Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, Galactica.
Yeah, posted on X Wednesday a series of screenshots showing the news of the message. Wall Street is on notice. Corporate America is afraid of you. I'm just your instrument. Every woke company is wondering if they're next. I think it's just business. I think it's just they're going to take the most sensational quote because they're pissed.
Well, here's the thing you have to understand too. There's a difference between diversity, and inclusion and wokeness. There's a difference. Like wokeness, I think when they refer to wokeness, they're referring to overtly being over the top, like pushing agendas out there publicly and slapping people in the face with it and stuff like that. I think if you're just, I don't think all diversity and inclusion is wokeness. There's a difference. I think people don't understand that. Just because you're trying to make sure that you have some diverse people working for you does not mean you're woke.
Yeah, and they're like, even this art. This is come from USA
I don't
Today.
like using that word.
Well, they're talking about
It's
because
overused.
They're angry that companies are walking it back.
Yeah, they're pissed, which is all worth it for me.
Right.
Just because it's like, because I want to see DEI gone. Because I want to see DEI gone because I think it's more harm than good. It's actually hurting people.
Yeah,
it's actually making people mad at each other when they weren't like 10 years ago.
So the original title of this article, which they changed it, was it was actually called DEI Workplace Trump Vance Impact. And then they renamed it to DEI Efforts May Be Under Attack, but but companies aren't retreating from commitments. We're still winning. We're still winning, guys. And they might be. Some of them are just going to repackage it because it's not palatable. But I do not think you're going to see, especially if the orange one comes back in the fall. The second coming of the orange one.
You can say Trump because they said it in their
article. Are we
article
allowed to
title.
say that? Okay.
If Trump gets back in.
Yeah. So if Trump gets back in, I don't think you're going to see as many companies tripping over themselves to post the right thing on social media because there have been financial repercussions. And even if they, well, in a lot of cases, they don't believe it. Let's be honest. They don't believe it. They're like, oh, hey, it's June. We can sell rainbow merch.
That ticks me off. It's just these companies trying to cash in on things like, Black History Month or Women's History Month or whatever, just to sell more shit. They don't really care. They just want to sell shit.
So they're talking about there's been backlash on the Supreme Court level, and they're talking, lawsuits. I think you mentioned O'Keefe with Disney. I mean, if it comes out that Disney has been actively discriminating against white dudes because they didn't meet the equity quotient of the DEI, then there could potentially be a lawsuit or multiple lawsuits. So I think they're just trying to be smart fiscally about it. And basically, look, the ESG money, the free money, the venture capital has run out. And now you actually have to turn a profit, and alienating your customers because your 22-year-old activist social media manager thinks it's cool. And I think that's what happened. I think a lot of these companies were asleep at the wheel, and they're like, well, Susie, they, them, has been telling us for 6 months that, there's this untapped farmer drag queen market, and we should listen to Susie because Susie knows what's what, because Susie's got a lot of followers on social media, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just some crusty 65-year-old dude. I don't know. I'll listen to Susie. And then we watch the whole freaking business collapse. And we're like, oh, shit. Susie's 22 and doesn't know shit. Imagine that. Imagine that. Why did we listen to Susie? Oh, and hey, BlackRock called. They're not going to give us any more money. Well, fuck it. We're just going back to making money. You know what I'm saying? There's so many reasons for this, but basically it's paradigm shift.
We're talking about Tennessee retailer. Okay, it's Tennessee retailer Tractor Supply. They went back. They walked back to they sell animal feed, tools, fencing, and clothing.
Right.
Yes, because there's such a demand for animal feed in the diverse market.
I am not saying that there isn't a market for drag queen farmers, and we'll probably hear from them after this video, but it's very, very small.
Please explain to me. Send pictures and show me how you get stuff done in drag.
I would love to.
Oh my God, that's going to be a respect on that one.
You're going to give somebody the idea for a new TikTok account.
Drag queen farmer. Oh my God, I'd be there for it. I'd be like, you know what? Have you ever tried walking in heels? Holy shit. If someone did farming as a drag queen, they did it for many hours a day, you would have my respect, 100%.
That would be kind of fun.
Because I can't imagine.
That would be highly entertaining. But but yeah, it's like, I mean, who do they think the market is? I mean, we know that the people that they're trying to virtue signal to don't even know how to plant seeds. They're trying to plant seeds on a piece of cardboard in Chaz.
True. Yeah.
Like,
why isn't it growing?
Why isn't it growing?
They're waiting for it to grow.
This is our garden for the peoples of Chaz. I'm like...
When I saw that, again, I come from a rural farming type area. When I saw that, I was just like, what the hell? Yeah, I know how to plant. I know how to grow stuff. I know how to can. I know how to sew. I know how to do all that stuff. I'm Granny Core Hard over here. But I grew up in an area that's what we did. We knew how to do that. I don't hunt, though.
Be Granny Core Hard than Granny Hardcore. That's another account. That's on OnlyFans, though. She does it in heels too.
Account. I don't want to see that one though, but
I don't know if she does it in heels anymore. It's probably in flats now because her arches are flat. Yeah. I don't know, guys.
Get shit done over here. Anyway.
So yeah, Trump and Vance are dismantling DEI according to USA Today. Yeah, I mean, I hate to
Trump
be
and Vance really had anything to do with it. Businesses did it because they lost money.
Keywords.
Yeah.
It's keywords.
It's just Trumpity Trump.
Trumpity Trump. It's all Trump's fault. So the Trump derangement's going to start up again, but it's not going to be the way it was before because the venture capital has run out. These websites that can't support themselves are not going to stay in business. So we might get people bitching about Trump, but I don't think we're going to see it magnified as much as it was before. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I think given the financial state of the company right now, even people that absolutely loathe the orange one are like, financially, it makes a lot more sense.
Keep calling him the orange one.
The orange one. The orange one. Even people
think it was annoying orange.
Well, to some people, he is annoying orange. So, but I'm just saying, like, they're going to look at the situation. They're going to be like, okay, I don't like him, but God, my bank account is crying right now. So we did have a lot more money back in 2017, 2018.
I just think that people need to be hired based on, merit and skill. But it needs to be equally opportunity. Everybody should have the same chance. I 100% believe that. I have no problem with people being diverse that are hired if they're qualified for the position. The problem I have is when you're hiring people who are based on checkboxes, not on qualifications. And it clearly will hurt your company. I'm sorry, but it will.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. You go to the bottom here, and they're talking about dismantling DEI in the government, and Vance is. I have to look into that more. Apparently, he's leading that up. But they said, yeah, our company is getting rid of it. They're not being as public about it, and they said they're dropping the E from it. I think that they're dropping the word equity because equity again means you're going to choose potentially a less qualified candidate based on checkboxes because that's what equity is. It's like boosting people who view themselves as being marginalized, boosting them over other candidates, even if they're not qualified for the job. And that's where we run into the problem. It's not like, again, just go back to equal opportunity employment.
Mm-hmm. I'm not saying don't hire diverse people, not by any means. I mean, I think there's some very qualified diverse people that should be hired.
Don't discriminate against people based on their skin tone. That's across the board. Their religion, their gender, their sexual identity. I'll tell you the truth. If we had somebody come to us and that person was a drag queen.
What is with you and drag queens?
Well, we're talking about drag queens. And that person was the best at whatever the fucking thing was that we were hiring them for. And I knew that person was going to make us a shit ton of money and was going to focus on the job and not spend all day on Twitter talking about stuff that was going to hurt the company.
We hire them, no problem.
I'd hire, no problem.
Yeah.
I'd be like...
We hire, we don't hire
I don't care.
We hire based on your qualifications, not what you identify as.
Are you good at what you do? Fantastic. Are you going to help make the company money? Are you a team player? Are you going to not make us look stupid in public? Fantastic. And if you like to come to work in pumps,
I might ask where you got them.
Sure. Are you the best at what you do? And that's what we need to go back to doing.
Yeah, so. we don't care. Like, we don't care if people are different than us. We just care if you're people are like, what? We just care if you're an asshole. I mean, that's
pretty much it. I mean, this is where like the pendulum tends to swing too hard in either direction, and it's basically for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction, and when you swing it really hard one way, which the last few years has been left, it's going to swing back pretty hard, right? Eventually, we just
want to go back to the middle, man.
I just want things to go back to normal. Can we just go back to normal, please?
That's it. The circle it makes when it's like calm, but it's still moving. That's what we want.
Yeah, just the calm with a bit of movement. That's fine.
Getting it done. Are we going to wrap this?
Yeah, let's wrap it.
We were about talking about DEI at John Deere, and somehow we ended up talking about
pumps.
Yeah. I mean, if you're talking about Loungefly bags, I'd be all about it, but
Well, there we go. All right, let's wrap it up.
Yes.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.